Hey guys, this is George with Firehouse Music. I'm the head instructor here, and today I want to talk about the most fundamental scale for improvisation, and that is the pentatonic scale. That scale is the foundation of rock, blues, even jazz. It's across all American music, and even some ethnic music. But before we look at application, the first thing we're going to look at is how to actually play it. And there's 5 different fingerings for this scale, and I'm going to cover them today and how they link together, and hopefully that would help you guys. So let me go ahead and zoom in. All right. So if we look at the pentatonic scale, and a good key to learn it is A minor. So that means that we're going to start on our fret 5. So index fingers are going to be on fret 5. And if you remember the very first exercise that we learned, we had that 1, 2, 3, 4 exercise. Right? We have one finger per fret. So doing that, we have our index finger on fret 5, and our pinky is going to go on fret 8. So if we look at that, just in terms of fingering, and you'll see why in just a minute, this being finger number 1 and this being finger number 4, we have 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4. And it's a good idea to always practice it backwards as well. So 4, 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1. Now, the reason why I like to teach it that way instead of with the frets, and of course it's going to coincide with the frets. You're going to be playing basically 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8. But the reason why I like the fingering better is because the fingering doesn't change no matter what position you're in. If I'm, say, on fret 12 and I'm playing on a different key now, I play the same fingering, it's still going to be 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4. If I'm on fret 3, again, same thing, 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4. And that makes it easier for us to learn the other fingerings as well, because we just look at the fingers instead of getting bogged down with the number of frets and everything that tends to confuse students. So I like to use a combination of the position and the fingering. So once again, starting on the 5th position, meaning that my index finger is on fret 5, right? My fingering is 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4. And that is my first finger in my first position. My second fingering is going to be on the 7th position, index finger on fret 7, and the fingering is now going to be 2, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 3, 2, 4, 2, 4, and then backwards. So 4, 2, 4, 2, 3, 2, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 2. So again, the fingering is 2, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 3, 2, 4, 2, 4, and backwards. Then the third fingering is a little bit interesting because we're going to do it on the 10th position, and this one has a stretch. It's the only pentatonic fingering that's going to have a stretch. The fingering is super easy. It's mostly 1, 3. So these two fingers, two strongest ones. So we're going to start on fret 10, 10th position, and we're going to go 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, stretch down 1, 3. So I'm holding fret 9 with my index finger, even though I'm still in the 10th position. Right? So 9, 12, meaning 1, 3 with a stretch. Then come back to normal position, and we're going to go 1, 4, 1, 3. So all together, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, stretch, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 3, and backwards. 3, 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. Then our fourth fingering is going to be in the 12th position, and we're gonna go 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 2, 4, 1, 4, then backwards. 4, 1, 4, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4. Once again. 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 2, 4, 1, 4. 4, 1, 4, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1. Then we're gonna move on to our 14th position. And this is the 5th and last fingering, and it's going to be 2, 4. I said 14th position, so index finger on 14th fret. So 2, 4, 2, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4. Right? And you might be wondering, what happens beyond that? Well, beyond that, it repeats. So my pinky is there. I'm gonna move up, and I play the first fingering again. 1 4 1 3 1 3 1 3 1 4 1 4. The same thing would happen if I went down. But before I get into this, we have to look at how these shapes connect, right? And they work like a jigsaw puzzle. They come together, right? So the beginning of my first fingering, fingering 1, 1 4 1 3 1 3 1 3 1 4 1 4, all those ones, they are the ending of my fifth fingering. If I go 2 4 2 4 1 4 1 4 2 4 2 4, notice that I keep going 5 5 5 5 5 5. So that's the same as my 5 5 5 5 5 5 here. So it connects that way. And ultimately, all these fingerings, they are fake. They're not real. We made them up, but to make it easier to learn. But really, we have the scale spawns the whole fretboard, right? So ultimately, the goal is for us to be able to look down, not really look down, just feel the fretboard and have one giant scale. Of course, if as a beginning student, you try to do that from the beginning, it'd be really overwhelming. So we kind of split everything into nice little chunks that you can absorb and do it that way. But that's basically how it works. So that way we can extend the scale further down and further up until we run out of guitar. Now, what about other keys? Well, the way you do this, and the easiest way for now, would be for you to learn the notes on the sixth string, E, F, F sharp, G, and so on. And you can find charts about this everywhere. Or get some lessons from a qualified teacher. You can learn all that stuff. And we're gonna move this up, right? And we use that first fingering, the 1 4 1 3 1 3 1 3 1 4 1 4, as a guide. So that first fingering becomes the pivoting point from which we spawn all the other fingerings. So if I'm on fret 8, if I'm in the key of C minor, how do I know that? Because this note is a C. Fret 8 is C. So I can take that and build my other scale fingerings from there. So from here, where my pinky is, that's where my middle finger is going to go. And build my second fingering. And then where my pinky is there, I can go and build my third fingering. And so on. I can do that across the board with any fret that I want. And that's how you navigate the other keys. If you find this a little bit overwhelming or too much, or you're not following it, don't worry about it. For now, all you have to do is learn the fingerings of the pentatonic scale and the positions that I prescribed earlier in the video. I'm just kind of giving a little bit of a preview of how application is going to work. For those of you who may be familiar with the scale a little bit, may have a couple of fingerings under your belt, and this is just almost like a review lesson. So practice this, learn this for about a week. If you have never seen the pentatonics before, this might take you a couple of weeks. Those of you who may be familiar with the first or second fingerings, you may be able to do it in 1 week. But just practice it, learn it, and then I'll see you guys on the next video.